Hi guys, welcome back to the next part of this project, the Pokeball project, and now we're gonna jump onto the secondary shapes. So by secondary shapes, I mean the black frame that we have here, the black line, and the little button right here. So if we take a look at the Pokeballs, you're gonna see that when you open them, there's a lot of different versions. But what you can definitely see is that this black line follows very closely the shape of the object, right? Like of the Pokeball, and it stays or sticks to the upper part of the Pokeball in some versions, because in other versions it's the other way around. So is there a right or wrong way to do it? We would have to go and see the cartoon series or something. But I'm gonna keep it to the top side. I think that looks nice. Now, in order to get that nice shape, we're actually going to be using these shapes that we had over here. Why? Because this guy right here, if we subtract this thing from another sphere, we should be able to get a very close or very close shape that we want, like the black border, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back to my sphere 3D. I'm gonna make a new polymesh 3D. Let's go back to our starter material. There we go. And then I'm gonna say subtool, append, and we're gonna append this one right here, the main like hole that we have. And this one we're gonna change to intersection, or sorry, division right here. Let's go and make this a little bit bigger, or smaller rather. What do we have turned on? There we go. So as you can see, we get this shape right here. And if we go to this one right here, that guy right there, like the border that we have on the outside here, we're dividing, we're creating this sort of like protrusion, right? So I know that that's the ring that I want. This is the border and this is the ring. Again, we have this sphere and we're using our hole to create this, and then this one we just make it bigger. So when we make this bigger, or sorry, smaller, over here, there we go. Now, what's going on? There we go. So let's make this smaller. There we go. We create this thing, right? So I want to create the ring there, this guy right there. But now I wanna subtract the original sphere from the ring so that we only get the ring itself. So I'm gonna append a new sphere. So let's go here to sphere, and we're gonna divide or subtract the sphere from that guy. Let's go to normal mode, and let's go, because we want to go in here. We could also use a cylinder, by the way, but I think the sphere is gonna look a lot better. There we go. Let's do intersection, division. Oh no, sorry. Here's where mathematic operations become like complicated. So we already have this guy right here. Let's again create the little like ring that we want. So that's the shape, right? Now, if we try to add another like subtraction to this thing, it's gonna be very difficult because the math just doesn't work. That doesn't make sense. So before we do that, I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna rename this. I'm gonna call this main like hole. There we go. And now let's go back to the process that we're doing here, and we're gonna make a Boolean mesh, because again we're gonna get a lot of things over here. I'm gonna grab this guy, and now this guy, as you can see, we have a polypaint. We don't need polypaint just yet. We just need the little ring that we're looking for. And then in here we're gonna append a new sphere, and this new sphere is gonna be a subtraction sphere. And what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna be subtracting until we get the thickness of the ring that we want, which is this one right here. So we're using the second sphere to subtract from the upper sphere. And you might actually find other ways to do it. This is the one that I've come up with for this specific tutorial, and I think it works nicely. But you might find other ways, and as long as you get the shape that we're going for, the mathematics work. So I'm just gonna say again, make Boolean mesh. And we already have the little ring right here. Now let's start cleaning up, because we have a lot of things. So I'm gonna clean this one up. Let's say delete all. Okay, and I'm gonna clean this one up. I'm also gonna say delete all. I'm just gonna keep the original one in case we need to do anything with the like the inner sides and stuff. And this one I'm gonna rename, and I'm gonna call ring. There we go. And we can also like add a different color, but before we do that, we definitely need to clean this up, because this is topology that we're not gonna be able to work with. I'm gonna go back to geometry. I'm a little bit worried about the fact that this thing is not aligned in the proper way. You can see that little thing here. So let's say if we append here, I just want to see if it works or not. So I'm going to say append. Oh my god, there we go. So it is working. It is where it's supposed to be, but for some reason, like the whole thing is rotated in a weird way, which is really weird to me. But we'll fix that later on. That's fine. So I'm gonna go R, and I'm gonna scale this down. And as you can see, this is going to scale very nicely, and it's going to follow the exact shape of the whole thing. It's gonna hug all of the surfaces in the exact way that we need them to, because it follows the exact same form, right? So again, this is it has to do a little bit with logic, and we need to think about how to build things up so that things work in the best possible way. There we go. I think the camera was the one that was rotated. Now we definitely need to clean this guy up, so I'm gonna press shift click on the little eye right here. I'm gonna go into geometry again, see remesher, detect edges, and let's try see remesher and see what we get. Okay, so this is not bad. As you can see, this is working quite nicely, but we do have a couple of like bad elements here and there. Like you can see, we can try see remesher again, and that's that. So let's try turning on symmetry, and let's see if that works, because this is supposed to be a symmetrical object, and we do have those little like border edges. So I'm gonna try and say keep groups, and let's see if that works. There we go. That works a little bit better. Now we have some weird corners over here, which I don't particularly like. We can of course increase the poly count for now. Let's try like an 8, and let's say let's try freeze border, and let's see if we get, no, we can't freeze the border. So let's say just keep groups, and I mean it's not perfect, but it's getting there. Let's try without keep groups, see remesh. Okay, that's way better. So as you can see, we get a very nice effect. It's not super crisp, but it should do the work. And I think we don't have any more, like a couple of nicks here and there. Now, am I worried about those nicks? Not particularly, because we could fix them a little bit with our C modeler techniques. Another thing we could do, and I think this might work a little bit better, is I'm actually gonna go into Dynamesh first. I'm gonna keep polish on, and I'm gonna say with a relatively high Dynamesh. Not really. Let's try project and see if that, okay, that does a little bit of a better work. As you can see, it tries to keep the corner there a little bit cleaner, and we don't get any like weird elements over there. So now that the topology is a little bit better, we should be able to go into serum measure and try the serum measure again. Let's see how we get it. Not a huge fan of it, to be honest. So let's go back. Let's keep just with serum measure. I think it did a fairly good job. Yes, we have a couple of like small details here and there, but I think it's not the end of the world. Now I'm gonna go here. Let's select like this madcap gorilla and say color fill object as well. And if we go back to our subtool, we get this very nice thing. We can of course give it a division, and we're gonna have that thing right there. Now I am gonna push this thing a little bit up so that all of the little holes, because there's a couple of little holes there that we definitely need to fix. So it's just a small scale so that we don't have any like empty points, and that's it. We have the main basis. Now for the button right here, you can see that the button actually has like you can actually press the button. So it might be a good idea not to use live booleans, but to use a C modeler. So I'm gonna append a simple cylinder over here. I'm gonna rotate this thing around and scale this down. Move this over here. Let's of course match our original like image. Get it as close as possible so that the thing has the proper size. There we go. Let's go for like a white material, which I think we were using the toy plastic, right? So let's go toy plastic, and we can already do a color fill object just to get like the proper color. Now this button of course is going to be smaller. It's going to be kind of like right there, and here's where C modeler comes into place, and we can actually use it to create the very basic like bevel shape that we have here. So I am gonna go into B, C, and click the C modeler. I also have my shortcut over here, which I think I already given you guys my my basic UI so that you can use it as well. And I'm gonna go into, let's go into polyframe. I'm gonna say edge loop. Let's do a bevel, and we're gonna bevel this whole thing like that so that we get a round element. I'm also gonna bevel this one right here. There we go. And then I'm gonna go into let's see if we can get like this faces right here. There we go. Now of course we're gonna have the back faces, so let's go to display properties. We're gonna say double. Let's isolate this for just a second because I wanna get rid of this ones on the back. And Control W to group that guy. And now we're gonna go into face, Q mesh island. or QMesh, sorry, polygroup island, and we're gonna QMesh this. Or actually, not QMesh. We actually want to inset this. There we go. Inset polygroup island, and we're gonna do this, which is about there. And then I want to create like the sort of effect where the button actually goes in. I just don't want to extrude this thing and be done with it. So I'm gonna go QMesh, push this thing in, and then inset again. Create a small little inset right there, and then QMesh again, and now we push the button out. So we create that nice little like border so that it looks like the button actually has somewhere to go, right, when you press it. You could also do it as two separate meshes in case you were gonna animate them, but I think this is gonna work for now. Now we're gonna go bevel, and we're gonna bevel this guy. And I actually wanna bevel with 2 rows. So we get a softer bevel, right, there we go. And if you just click, remember, we inherit the exact same bevel everywhere. So if we press a D, which is, remember, dynamic subdivision, this is what we're gonna have. And this looks very, very nice, I think. So yeah, that's it. We're just gonna press Shift D to go out of this. And we have our Pokeball. We have the little, like the upper hole, the button, the little ring here, and then the outer side. Now, that's not it. We're still going to add one more live boolean thing, and that's the inside of the Pokemon. Or the Pokeball, sorry. So on the inside, I mean, there's crazy things, right? Like we can do this, but you can see there that like sort of like mark or like a frame that the Pokeball has. In the series, it has a very simple, let's look for a better concept, Pokeball inside. And it has this sort of like simple technique, right? So you can go as complex as you want. We're gonna keep it really simple. This is just the first exercise for this course, and then we're gonna like damage this Pokeball to get a very nice like let's say, yeah, let's just use the Pokeball. So yeah, that's it for this one, guys. I'll see you back on the next one. Keep on working, and that's it. Bye bye.